lunge, what we want to do is we set the rings up. The rings can come just in line with your nipple line. And what we're doing over here is it's a single leg squat. So we're trying to gain as much range of motion in this knee here. So I'm trying to get as deep and as forward as I can. The thing with this movement is we don't want the heel to raise up. We want to keep the heel flat into the ground. We want to put the foot straight. We don't want the foot to turn in like that and then expose the inside of the knee. So the foot is nice and straight. And I'm holding on to the rings because it can take off the load. You see, because I've got the rings here, it doesn't like there, if I've got no support, it provides like it stimulates the muscles too much in the beginning. So what you want to do is give yourself a bit of take the load off. And you see how forward I'm going there. I'm trying to get that knee as far forward as I can. The back leg, you see my back leg is on the ground here, and you see I'm on my toes at the back leg here. And then I'm not coming up and down, I'm simply staying in this position, pulling my posture upright, and now what will happen is you'll feel a big stretch through your hip flexor. And so that's the idea of this movement, is to open up that hip flexor. So you see I'm pushing my back leg as far back as I can, and now I'm stretching out that hip flexor. I'm opening up my extensors in my back and staying in this position. It's isometrically loading this knee and making it really strong, so it's getting used to the knee capsule being nice and forward where it belongs, right? So you bend the back knee down, press the back leg as straight up as you can, bend the back knee down, press it up. As I progress, then what happens is I need less and less and less and less support from the straps. So you're going to do about 10 repetitions, and in time rely on the straps a little less every time. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
All right, so for the hanging drill, we want to get the rings above the head, and we want to have enough space here. So when we do hang down, I can hang down with my arms, and now what I want to do is I want to try to hug my my shoulders on my ears, right? The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the load. So you see I'm loading through my shoulders here. So initially you can just sort of get into it, feel, okay, my shoulders feel okay here. Once you feel comfortable over there and you've got your shoulders hanging on, it's almost like covering your ears so you can't hear anything, right? So there I am, covering my ears, and I'm just hanging. So I've got that full stretch through my shoulder girdle. So the next thing we're going to do, see I've got my feet directly below me. Watch how I'm tilting my pelvis up and under. So that tilt of the pelvis up and under there, what it'll do is it brings the abdominals to the party, but simultaneously with those abs flexing like that, it's going to demand more flexibility through the shoulders, which is wonderful, right? So once you feel comfortable and you can flex your pelvis up and under and you're feeling pretty comfortable, then you can start getting a little bit more adventurous and lifting your feet off. So now I've got a lot of load through my arms and I have to use my abs up. Once you feel comfortable with that, then you can start picking your knees up to this position here. So then the abs are working a lot more, there's a lot more load. Once you get more comfortable with that, then you can start picking your knees into your chest like that. So you want to aim to build this up from anything to start off with 10 seconds and build it all the way up to 60 seconds. So for example, once I'm comfortable here, I can start the first 10 seconds at a more progressed version, and as I start fatiguing, I can be like, oh, I'm getting to 40 seconds, 50 seconds. By the time I'm at 50, I'm like kind of got my feet back on the ground. And as you get better and better and better, your level of endurance will improve, right? Cool.
Go.
All right, so circuit number 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand on one foot. The idea is it's a hinging pattern. I've got this pole here next to me just to help me with my balance. Ideally what we want to do is not do this with any help from the pole, but for now we're going to use it, right? So the idea here is we're going to stabilize the ankle, stabilize the knee, and work the hinging pattern through the leg, yeah? So I'm standing with my single leg here, I'm giving my leg a little bit of softness in the knee there, so I'm bending it slightly, and I'm hinging over as if I'm bending over to pick something up. Simultaneously, this back foot is kicking up into the sky, and I'm hinging over. You notice here I'm using this to help me with my balance. If I take it away, there's a lot more balance involved here, yeah?
Yeah.
And I come up, up, boom, stop. So side view of this one, watch my lower back. The biggest mistake people do is when they hinge over, they let the lower back flatten over like that. And so that can cause that disc, bulge, stress on the sciatic nerve. We don't want to hinge like that. We always want to keep our back open when we're hinging over to pick something up. So we keep that erector spinae, lower back nice and strong. I'm hinging over, feeling nice stretching the hamstrings, feeling the glutes, the quads, and everything just form nice and upright, yeah? So you do about 10 on either leg. Okay, so the next exercise is our pushing pattern. So this is basically the start of a handstand journey. But the reason we're also doing this is to really open up the tight calf muscles that are existent in people with knee problems, right? So what I'm doing here is I'm adopting a downward dog position. So first off, the hand position is with my index fingers facing forward, right? So you put your hands out in front of you at about shoulder width apart, and then you pick your back legs up, and you see how I'm pushing my bum back in the air like this, and then I'm pushing my weight back into my heels, right? So this way, by pushing my weight back into my heels, I'm stretching the shoulder out and I'm stretching the calf muscle out, right? So I'm going back, stretch out the calf, stretch out the hamstrings, and then what I'm doing is I'm lifting my toes up, and look how I shuffle my weight up onto my tippy toes. So now I'm putting all the weight into my shoulders, and that is the start of the pressing up and shoulders overhead handstand type of movement, right? So there's my handstand, 1, 2, 3, and then I come back and relax and stretch into a stretch through my calves, shoulders, 1, 2, 3, press back into handstand, 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So you're going to repeat about 10 repetitions. So 1 repetition is forward and back. Cool. Right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to sink back, and we're going to choose an angle that suits us. So for example, this angle over here is medium. Coming back over here is super easy. Or if I went all the way down here, it's going to be super challenging. So I'll show you the super challenging version first. So up there and back down again. So I'm going to make it a little bit easier, and that's what you do. You gauge how far forward or back you can do. Now look at my pelvis. You see how I tuck my pelvis up and under? That's really important, because when you pull, you don't want your lower back arching like that. So squeeze the pelvis up and under. See how I shrug my shoulders on, and I bring the rings up to my chest here, and I pause. 1, 2, 3, and come back down again. Reset, tuck pelvis up and under, shrug shoulders, and bring the rings so they touch just below my nipple line. 1, 2, 3, and release. And so you're going to repeat 10 repetitions. To expose ourselves to the full range of motion squat, because generally the ankle muscles can get quite tight, so when people get down to the squat, they can't get down there. And the great thing about the rings is you can just hold on to the rings just to help you assist there. So the first thing we're going to address is getting the feet straight, twist the knees out. We don't want the knees rolling in, we don't want the feet turning out. So feet generally quite straight, knees twisting out. Now look how I'm hinging my bum back first. So the movement of a squat mustn't be the knees first, it must be the bum, is if I'm sitting back and pushing my bum back onto a chair. That's vitally important, right? So you see I push my bum back and I hinge over, and now I'm using the rings to stop me from falling out, right? So I'm keeping that lower back nice and erect, hold my back erect, hold my back erect. I've got the rings here to help me, but I'm not hanging on the rings either, right? So I'm sitting down, I can feel, okay, that really helps me get to that deeper position of the squat. Pause, 1, 2, 3, keep the knees out, keep the posture nice and up, and simply stand up. And that's your squat pattern. So you're doing anything from 10 up to 20 repetitions with this one. Keep coming up. Okay, so then we're going to move into the pushing up pattern. So the push up, you can make it difficult by putting the rings here directly below you and then going down at that angle, okay? So that may be too difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk forward and we're going to put it up at an angle so it's a bit easier. So the thing about the push-up, if I turn my hands like this, the shoulder's going to internally rotate and it's going to really hammer on that tricep there. A similar pattern you see that is when people like do bench press. That's why a lot of bench pressers suffer from shoulder problems. So what we're going to do is, instead of having the hands like that, we're going to turn the hands in so the palms are facing toward each other. Second thing we're going to do is we're going to take our shoulders forward. Now the biggest mistake people make is they bend the elbows like that. You see that? Mm-hmm. So you don't want to bend the arms, the elbows. The movement must be the shoulders moving forward. And then I take those hands down to the side, get as big a stretch as I can, and then I press up. The second mistake people make is they overarch their lower back so they don't switch on their abs. So what you want to do is squeeze the butt. You see I'm squeezing my butt super tight and I'm clenching my butt, clenching my abs. You see how my lower back is not arching. If I don't do that, this will happen, and then that just jams up the lower back and it really gets stuck into the facet joints of the spine. It can pinch your spine pretty bad and you can hurt your back. So squeeze your butt, squeeze your abs, take yourself forward, feel the stretch in your shoulders, and drive up. Another thing you want to push up through is make sure the scapula don't stop there. When you do the pushing through motion, you see how my scapula pushes all the way through. So all of the lats, that's how that shoulder girdle is designed to work, not just halfway up. It has to push all the way through, right? So again, you do about 10 repetitions on that one. Movement is the calf raise. So your plantar flexion extension is pretty much your youth in your body. If you don't have plantar flexion extension and flexibility and bounce and mobility through your ankle, the whole body is out of tune. So you get this right and everything else comes right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to work at the mobility and the strength first, and then later down the road we can work at bouncing. So skipping for me would be the best way to do cardio. A, it doesn't take a long time, and B, it gives you a spring back in your feet. So if you want to choose cardio, skipping rope is the best way to do cardio. Not all this like hardcore running and stuff. It's too hectic for the body. So ankles coming down. You see I'm getting that nice stretch in my ankles there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it one ankle at a time, right? So I get the stretch and then I press up, 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 up. You see I'm trying to get up as high up as I can, yeah?
Yeah.
And then I come back down again. See, I'm controlling the movement. I'm not just falling into it. Get a nice stretch. Go up, 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 up. Super strong. 1, 2, 3. Slowly, 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 slowly down. So you're looking at about 10 to 15 repetitions on each leg.